Good evening and a warm welcome to today's bootcamp on building your own virtual agent using natural language processing. I am 𝗖𝗲𝗏𝗂𝗃𝗂𝗃 and I am the Director for Community and Partnerships with OpenWeaver. OpenWeaver is a SaaS technology company supporting over 1 million developers worldwide build their ideas faster by reusing open source software. Our vision is to reinvent digital realization. Simply put, we'd like to improve the way applications are built. By investing in a unique combination of public domain knowledge and artificial intelligence, OpenWeaver is delivering smarter ways to build the digital world of tomorrow. Today's bootcamp is an integral part of our OpenWeaver community initiatives. The OpenWeaver community is a body of like-minded technology enthusiasts and open source contributors who have come together with the vision of contributing to the world of open source and sharing how complex use cases can be developed by reusing open source. Over the last few weeks, we have run several open source development bootcamps on a variety of topics such as building your own AR-powered e-commerce site, fake news detection, basics of Python, and even building an AI model for breast cancer prediction, and many more to come. Today's bootcamp on building your own virtual agent using NLP will cover the basics of natural language processing and will focus on a specific use case where you will get to build your own virtual agent in about 40 minutes. Through today's bootcamp, you will realize that technology does not have to be complex and definitely does not have to be developed in silos. You will see how you can take a solution that is pre-built, in fact, pre-built by many people in the world, and then you can further build on top of it and share it back such that others can now have access to your solution and will be able to further build on top of your ideas, thereby accelerating this virtuous cycle of innovation and also helping you scale your ideas and bring it to life much faster. So with that brief introduction of today's agenda, I will now welcome our mentor for today's session, Pooja Agarwal, who is a senior developer advocate with OpenWeaver. Hi Pooja, welcome and thank you so much for joining us and putting together yet another very much an on-demand topic. So I hand it over to you to walk us through the agenda and the rest of the session.
Okay. Thank you, 𝗖𝗲𝗏𝗂𝗃𝗂𝗏. Hi everyone, welcome to this very interesting session on building your own virtual agent. So you may be thinking that how would we be able to build a virtual agent, which is a little complex if you talk about the technology, but let's quickly see how we can build it in under 40 minutes by going through the agenda. So first we'll talk about artificial intelligence and the narrower technology, which is natural language processing, which actually helps us build this virtual agent chatbot that you can use in not just any particular domain, but all the domains that you think are possible or that can help you get into a business. So to be able to contribute to the larger good on the whole as well, you will use open source we'll use all the open source tools and libraries to build this virtual agent today, and we will go through the kandi kit, which will help you get this virtual agent set up onto your systems. So we will follow our normal trend of getting the kit set up from the very starting of our session, so that we can work around the kit and maybe solve some of your issues, just in case based on your systems you are able to set and not set your kit. So to do that, please go into the description of today's session. In the description of today's session, you would see that you will find a link under community certification and resources here. Do click on it. So this will take you to our community platform, which is this discourse platform of OpenWeaver. Here you can check out this page on virtual agent, and you can also read about this topic, and then simply click on this one-click Kandi solution kit link that is provided. So we'll go ahead and click here. So as you go and click here, you would see that the page from where you can download your one-click installer is present, and let's go ahead and click on the one-click installer that's available. Let's name our file as virtual agent and save it into our downloads. Since this is a zip file, so let's go ahead and unzip it. So we'll extract using a unzipping folder software. Okay, so extract it all, just say extract it all. You will find a batch file. You can scan the batch file prior to setting it up onto your local systems. uh, since I'm assured that this file looks good to me, I'll go ahead and say open. This will give me a notification. I'll say more info and say run anyway. So this will simply start the setup of your Candy Kit onto your systems. So you would see that as this setup is going on, it will check for all the needed requirements, Python libraries, Jupyter Notebook, etc., onto your systems and starts setting all of it onto your local systems or computers. So we'll let this installation happen and minimize our screen and go ahead and simply start discussing the concepts behind this virtual agent kit that we are now setting up. So to start with, we will first talk about the very history from where artificial intelligence came into being. So artificial intelligence was the term which was coined in 1955, or I would say later than 1955 or 1956, in the late 1950s, where during a conference in with the during a conference at the Dartmouth Summer Research Project, this guy called John McCarthy, who's also known as the father of artificial intelligence, introduced with among with the interview introduced the term artificial intelligence along with a group of his scientists and other technology hungry and innovators, and where they discussed that how they can make things automate, or how they can make programs that can automate the tasks that they are willing to perform using machines. So the first program that they used or was introduced within the artificial intelligence technology was called your logic theorist. So if you ask me what this program was, what was this first program and how did this first program basically work? So this first program called logic theorist only was a simple rule engine based program, and based on a certain rule that was written, few tasks were performed, right? Or a certain task was performed. But only after the introduction of this program, it took pretty long to develop the technology of artificial intelligence that you learn here and talk about so much today. Why not before? If it was 1956 when it was first coined, the term was coined and all that. So the reason is that if you see that in the 1960s 70s, nothing much moved. It was a simple winter where that followed by a little bit development or a boom because of the learning techniques. So these are all your KNN or machine learning supervised techniques that we will talk about just in the next slide. But again, after this early 90s change or the little boom that happened, artificial intelligence again had to see a winter. The second AI winter from 80s to 90s had to be seen, and nothing much, even after that software or the writing or the learning techniques being written, not much could change. It was only in the 1990s or the 2000s that they showed a great success in the various fields where you can use artificial intelligence. And if you talk about today, so this has become really cutting edge. I mean, we are using Siri, Alexa, we are using Google Assistant, and not just these voice assistants, but we are using so much more in our driverless cars, or in fact our sensor based systems in internet of things are all employing artificial intelligence to be able to gather a good amount of data and then work upon or analyze that data to perform a certain task automatically. So now, because of the hardware that is available, things improved really great, and that improvement really helped in coming to a stage where we say that artificial intelligence has influenced us to a larger scale, not just limited to a certain application but much more. So we understand artificial intelligence is where we want the machines to behave and understand things like humans. right? Where us as humans, how are we different from machines? If you ask me, we are quick to make decisions, we have cognitive skills, we do understand not just decision making for a certain, how, what are the pros, what are the cons, and accordingly making a certain decision, but we also have various other characteristics. But currently we are talking about the human intelligence, which enables it to take decisions very instantly and quickly. Or I would say that no, not just a certain rule followed and a certain task performed, but getting a little farther from it. Machine learning and deep learning, if we talk about, are concepts wherein you create the machines which are intelligent enough to not just analyze the data, but based on a certain algorithm, give you relevant results to go ahead and perform medical operations, or from healthcare industry to, you would say, businesses where a certain product is launched. Everything can be analyzed in a very planned manner, everything can be conducted in a very planned manner if we employ machine learning and deep learning skills. So within this we have supervised and unsupervised learning techniques. So we want the machine to learn and behave like humans. So for that, a supervised learning technique is wherein you want the machine to basically we have the expected output, and based on the expected output, we want the machine that whenever the next time the machine has certain inputs, it will accordingly give out the expected outputs. So that is a supervised mode of learning, when we know what is the expected result, when we have all the characteristics and all the attributes, and according to those attributes we are expecting a certain target output value. However, in unsupervised mode of learning, we do not understand exactly what should or what is the expected outcome. So we are not training the machine, or we are not telling the machine that this should be, or this is the expected output, but we let the machine be intelligent enough to to gather the required targeted expected outputs using its own intelligence, where it tries to put the different data points with similar features in one class and other in different class, right? So what are the different fields of artificial intelligence? Like we talked about certain different examples. One is your NLP, under which we have your conversational agents. Second is computer vision, where you have your self-driving autonomous cars, where these cars do not require any driver and they can automatically go ahead and follow the expected traffic rules or so. But then the third category, which is pretty interesting, is a speech recognition and generation, which is where you use these voice assistants to get a certain expected result or output, right? Then we will talk about a little bit features of the virtual agent that we are trying to build. So these virtual agents would be something that will be available to you as an agent for 24/7 support. So you no longer expect a human to intervene and get you the right answers. You just train the bot with the required questions or the most commonly asked questions, and it will try to answer and map based on the user with the right expected output. So you expect the virtual agent to have that cognition, you expect the virtual agent to give you a quick turnaround. I mean, that those are the features which has actually improvised, or I would say those have become better every now and then based on the enhancements in the technology. So there are least amount of error that you would expect based on the training data that you are providing. The expected output is also fetched accordingly, and then it's a very inexpensive affair. You no longer need a manpower, you don't need to keep them in shifts, right? Human cannot work 24/7, right? So all that can be done by these bots or these virtual agents, which can enhance your overall experience with both the customer, and as a customer yourself, you would feel that very quickly, even at 3 a.m in the morning, you're getting answers to your queries. So talking about the technology behind it, we are talking about machine learning. So how do we work around a model, or how do we set up a model which can help us with the different expected predictions or output. You provide the input data. That input data is used to train your algorithm. Your algorithm learns from the data that you provide, and then it tries to build on top of those inputs, right? There is a logical model. So you can ask what models. So these could be KNN, this could be decision tree, this could be random forest, it could be linear regression, it could be logistic regression. So the models could be any, but what you are providing as the training and then you're building based on the logic is what will help you when you're trying to provide the new data. You expect that the machine is providing you the expected output. So this is what we are talking about is supervised learning, where we are providing the expected output, we are wherein we are also obviously providing the expected input, sorry, provided input. So what would be our input here? We will use a knowledge base. So your knowledge base would be today frequently asked questions, right? So frequently asked questions, as in most of the websites, if there are product based website, they have certain questions that the customers keep asking. So we want to build a bot, or we the candidate is built today in a way that most of your queries or articles, queries can be answered. Next, you can also use not just these FAQ articles, but you can use a collection of documents to train your bot. Or you can, in fact, use voice-based conversations, etc., to train your bot. How do you act? What happens in the training? So we are saying we want to train the bot. We want to train the bot. So what exactly happens in the training process? You initially have your data source. Your data source is any FAQ articles, right? Let's say for today's case. Then you analyze the data that is provided, exactly what is present and what needs to be removed, what is unnecessary. So first we analyze the data, and based on the analysis using your pandas and numpy, the most important essential libraries in Python, we pass that data into a pre-processing pipeline. So this pre-processing pipeline is where your grinding or cleaning or your removing of anything that is of not need happens. And this is basically your also NLP pipeline that we are talking about. After everything is being cleaned, your stopwords have been removed, we pass everything into the sentence transformer. So okay, let's go back, let's just review. We started with some frequently asked questions. We just analyzed what I need to clean from this, what kind of data it is, right? So for analysis we use some pandas numpy library. Then we passed, then we went through a NLP pipeline, removed whatever stop words, etc., digits, okay, whatever is unnecessary we removed. This sentence transformer does what? We as humans understand English. However, machines don't understand the high level language. They can only understand the lower level language, which is your zeros and ones, your mathematical form. So your sentence transformer will first convert all the cleaned input text into a embeddings form. So these are mathematical embeddings, which are mathematical codes in the Z form of zero and ones, which are the mapping for your English text. So these mathematical mappings or embeddings are then stored into this embeddings storage here. So with all these 4 5 steps, you complete your training part of the virtual agent. Next is your testing part. So within the testing part, what we do, so we already have your stored embeddings. We need to load or take those stored embeddings. We need to fetch them wherever we have stored those in the file. We'll again load them into our notebook. We'll be using the Jupyter notebook. We will load or fetch these embeddings. And then why are we loading them? Because we will check, now we will test based on the user query. Again, the user query, we need to clean the user query. User can ask, user can use anything irrelevant as well, right? When they're asking a query, they will not, some users may not even ask a straightforward query. They may just write anything rubbish. So all that needs to be cleaned. So we'll still pass it through a pre-processing pipeline, because our machine won't be able to do it right? So this is the process. You pass it through this pre-processing pipeline. Then again the same step, converting into the machine understandable lower language form. So you use the sentence transformer, which converts it into the embeddings form. Now for my user query, I have the embeddings. and I am fetching the stored embeddings during training. So now what will I do? I will check, I will match using a similarity engine. I will check and calculate the distance, which is the closest, mathematically, which embedding is closest to my stored embeddings is closest to my user query. And then this lookup will happen. And this, based on this lookup, whichever has the least distance, that will be the answer to our query, right? So this is how you're testing, or basically you will check how well your model is performing. So all that is done. We understand the training and the testing, but what sort of a software should I use? Should I simply go for a closed source software, or is it always good to go for an open source software? I think you can talk about it in the comments as well. You guys are already, some of you are our constant viewers, constant attendees who have understood the power of open source. So you may also try to uh, contribute that. What are your thoughts on open source? You can put your answers into the comments, and obviously I will vouch for open source. Let's talk about the reasons. First is the kind of accessibility and the availability. I can access an open source tool repository from anywhere, and the thing is it is easily modifiable. I just have to check the license. I can take up an existing code, modify it, build on top of it, redistribute it for use to others as well. That's how the things are growing. So what are those things we are talking about? See the changes and innovation in artificial intelligence today. The diversity has been great. We talk about blockchain, we talk about the distributed technology so much, which has removed, or which has somewhere helped the privacy stay consistent, which has not let governments centralize control on us somewhere. So all that technology is based on open source tools. So not only you just get all this innovation and diversity, but the good part is you don't have to try start from scratch. Just reuse what is already present. It saves your time and effort, and then you can focus only on the key development that you would like to do. Simply focus on the key development and just build something interesting of what is already present. So that's what we are also doing, right? With kandi, we will give you something, you try and change and customize it, and see how it is useful for your project, your commercial aspiration, whatever. So yeah, so the third thing is community support. So with open source tools, there is a big community which is trying to drive tools under the open source. You go to the GitHub, etc., and try to find so much more. But again, on kandi, you will also be able to not just get a lot of contribution, not just the answers to multiple questions where uh, but you will also be able to find many other key considerations. So I'll talk about those few parameters which make this tool kandi useful. But a very interesting fact that irrespective of how we say that Windows is a very simple uh, user friendly operating system of sorts, but most of the code, in fact 90% of the world's code, contains open source. So that's the answer to how powerful and how important and essential use of open source tools is. So what are our key considerations? These are the key considerations that you need to take care of: support, security, quality, and license. So we'll talk about the support, security, quality, and license every now and then. Support important, because without the support you won't be able to go ahead and grow. Security again important. If there are bugs, there's no point of such a kit. Quality is built again based on the both support and security. License agreement, because without a owner's permission, where they have declared a certain thing as permissive, you can't just do everything, or you can just not sell something commercially. So that's essential to look forward to. You can check all these already present on kandi. So now let's quickly go and build our virtual agent. So before we go ahead and start the discussion on the kit, I'll quickly take up a couple of questions that I can see are there on the uh, installation part of the kit. The reason being, so one thing is, if there is this Rogner error where there's a Python installation already present onto your systems, my suggestion would be to just uninstall any Python that is present, please, for the sake of simplicity, so that if there is a latest version or a depreciated version, that can be helpful for you, so that you are able to understand as we discuss the kit quickly with you. And okay, I think people are already helping each other out on the platform, which is what we always look forward to. And now let's get into the Jupyter notebook. I hope most of you are able to reach here. If not, you can go into the folder that you have unzipped and installed. After all the installation, you just have to write in the command line Jupyter notebook within the path where you have saved this notebook. So what all is there in the notebook? So this notebook basically has each and every detail, how you run the cells. In fact, we've listed down instructions. What is your data set? So 𝗖𝗵𝗺𝗂𝗂𝗀. Let's check out. So for our virtual agent kit here, if you see, you have this FAQAS. You will only have one XLS file. Open it. Sorry, let me reshare my screen, please. Okay, I'll just reshare my entire screen to showcase that within the folder where you have installed the entire kit, go ahead, check out this FAQAS. Within this FAQAS Excel, this is your FAQAS frequently asked questions dataset. Very, very simple, very, very small that we've kept currently, where you just have these 6, 7 questions, and there are some, long, small, short, whatever answers the required question for our product. But you can do similarly for your own product, say your own project. So let's get back to the notebook. So if you see, the notebook basically has the first command of basically saving your CSV file into a variable, which is your data source path. Then secondly, what we are doing again, since we want to save our model, we are saving it in model, the variable name for the default place where we are saving our model is model underscore path. Then I'm doing the most important task of importing the essential libraries. So NumPy and Pandas for data analysis. We already discussed that. Next is this text mining. So this is the pre-processing pipeline that I was talking about, NLP, where this linguistics, we've used text hero. So text hero gives you this remove digits. Your English ENG is your English stop words. So you can have stop words in any language. What are these stop words? A and is the all the prepositions, and I think anything that does not make much sense to the machine will be a stop word. So you would ask me, like, there's a library already created for it? Yes. Most of these are obviously libraries that are pre-built, and we are just calling them using the import command here and using. So similarly, this remove less than, remove punctuations, remove stop words, similar libraries available within your linguistics pre-processing and linguistics stop words. After you have removed your after you have cleaned all this, and after you've done all the text mining, what is next that is required to be done is your sentence transformer. So we talked about it. After the pre-processing, what I have to do, I have to convert it into low level machine understandable form. So I'm importing the library for it. Next is your cosine similarity for the testing purpose. Pickle to store my model. All the import has done. So let's load our FAQs dataset. To load it, I'm writing the pd.read underscore CSV. So this data source path has what? Your FAQs CSV, right? And then you are ignoring any encoding errors. Plus pd.set option, we want to have the maximum column width so that all your answers are properly displayed. That's it. With this df, I'm displaying my FAQs nicely in my Jupyter notebook. So now I want to analyze. I've loaded this. What I do is I analyze that when I have these questions, this question mark symbol is not even important for my machine. And I would also want to remove something which is not essential. So I would do the cleaning. So what I would do, I would remove numbers and punctuations. That's it. So we don't see any numbers currently, but say our user types any numbers, those will also be removed. So we do the pre-processing for that. On the data frame, we will say dot pipe, remove digits, remove punctuations, and we are again saving it into another column called processed queue. So let us check out. This is your third column, which is your processed queue column. Within this processed queue, you no longer have any digits. So digits were also not here, but still. And we have removed any punctuations. So what were your punctuations? Those were your question marks, right? These are straightforward questions. I'll also showcase you another Excel, how you can just copy paste anything into this same Excel or the CSV comma separated file and create your own virtual agent like so swiftly. So what is the next step? Next step is loading that sentence transformer. So within the sentence transformer, you have many models. Currently, we are using the paraphrase mini LM L6 version 2 and saving it into this variable called model. After that, now I want to find the embeddings, right? The mathematical form and store them into a file. So on the processed queue column, where I had done the pre-processing, I will use the model.encode command. Okay. What is this encode doing? It is computing the embeddings for all the questions in my notebook, in my data set, and then storing it into this q underscore embeds. So what is this? For all the questions alone, the processed column was your question column. All the question column, what I have done, changed it into the mathematical lower form and saving it into this. And then after this, we want to save this model into a file. So for that, I'm using the pickle.dump. Dump all this in the variable into a file form. And then what I'll do, my training is completed. Now I will go for testing. So in the testing, what I have to do, I'll have to load the file that I just saved, right? So I will say pickle.load. And then before we go ahead and talk about the method, we will talk about the testing step. So in the testing step, I'll go for a user query. So the user query is tell me about kandi. Simple. What is this kandi? So user query is tell me about kandi, and this user query is a parameter to this method called pred answer. And the method pred answer is defined here, right? This is the body or the entire definition of this method. So your query will go here. This user query tell me about kandi will be passed here, and then it will be converted into a it will be converted into a column, df underscore query, and then it will be removed for any digits and punctuation. Same steps are followed, right? We have to clean the user query here itself. Suppose this had tell me about candy and 456 digits like this. So I'll have to reload it. I'll showcase it to you. But let's understand the code again. So what I've done, I have just added these digits and question marks and punctuations for the sake of understanding that yes, these things are working, removing digits and punctuations. And I have saved it into clean user. This is the column name, clean user q. After that, same model encoding I have done, model.encode. After the lower form is computed, again saving it into user q embeds. Now calling my cosine similarity function. So what is this cosine similarity function? It is basically a distance measuring metric. And what distance I have to measure? This converted embedding form of this tell me about candy will be a mathematical lower embedded form. This I will now compare with all the embeddings that I had previously converted and stored into q underscore embeds, right? This comparison will happen, and the one with the least distance will be passed or will be provided as a index for the one will be provided as a answer to it, I mean, or would be given into this q underscore idx index. After that, we will simply say, after this lookup, basically this lookup is happening for this particular question index, pop the item. So I would say q underscore idx dot item. So what will happen for the matched question, for the matched query against my user query, this user query, whichever is matched and is having the least distance, that will become our q underscore idx. And for that particular my answer column will be provided. I mean, that particular answer from the answer column would be returned. So as simple as that. Let's just say restart and run all. Okay. Yeah. So yes, it's loading. Okay. Oh my God, that's a quick load. We go back here and see that tell me about kandi tries to return. So if you see here, this is trying to give me some warning, right? So the warnings are nothing, but I'm able to get the expected answer. It's asking tell me about kandi with all this etc things, and it's able to give me answer. So let's see a quick simulation of the same entire code that's up. Whether if I'll ask a query, uh, you know or if the user query equal to exit, then this will break, this will stop, else it will try to find the answer. Pred underscore is the method and the user query will be passed here. So let's check. Let's ask some query. What are the questions that are available? We will try to ask something very not different, but like somewhere similar, not exactly the same, and try to see what kind of answer we are getting. Or let's just check. Okay, how do I use kandi? What components? How do I shortlist components on kandi? Okay, so let's check out something. Hello, Mr. Bot. Help me with this. Let me understand components on the kandi platform. Let's see what it gives. So it is giving us an answer that kandi helps you select software components across this. So this is whatever is the closest, right? This is not a question that is already there. So that there is a certain question, answers for question. No, it will try to match. So this is just a simple example of 7 rows. Go for more. Go for say 1,000, 10,000, 20,000, whatever you feel or believe. So just paste the questions and the answers, and then you see that this is the kind of response that you get. You can again ask, what is this kandi? So it's trying to give me the definition of kandi. Let's see what else are the questions we can ask. Okay, we can ask some. So there are 2 questions on components as well, but we would like to ask something about say, how do I provide sorry how do I provide feedback about kandi? So this is not what is written there, right? And then let's use this. Still it will try to give me okay, that's a bigger one. So this is your answer, right? This is the question, and if you see, this is the answer. And it is saying that you have one is a search feature and another is a explore feature. So I hope this is how you can work out with the virtual agent, explore as much as possible. And I look forward to questions now. And do let me know in case you have something more that you would like to discuss with us on this virtual agent topic today.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Pooja. I have been noticing that we have a few comments through YouTube. So maybe you can help some
Sure.
of our users here understand. Looks like we have some errors for some people. Let's first
Right.
take the questions we have on YouTube and then go to the community questions.
Sure. So we see that, okay. So first of all, running the kit installer. So kit installer, you just have to double click and say more info and run anyway. John, that's your question. For Ragnar, if I'm not pronouncing your name wrong, you are facing issue with, I'll quickly see. Okay, so there are a couple of troubleshooting instructions. Let me take you to those. What exactly happens that, okay, this is the kit page, right? If you go down and see, there are some troubleshooting instructions. In case the kit doesn't successfully run on your Windows system, install C++ redistribute for Visual Studio 2022. So just install some quick libraries from this. Just double click it, go ahead and please download this and let it set up onto your systems. Maybe there are these important dependencies that system basis don't run. Even after installing this, if your kit doesn't work, go for these Microsoft build tools. This is the direct link to the exe. You can download it and set it up. Please follow these two instructions on the kit page. To reach the kit page, you have to again go into the downloads, go into the description of today's session, click on this community page. On the community page, please go to this one click kandi solution kit and you will get the kit opened. Scroll down, go to the troubleshooting instructions, install this first setup, so that whatever libraries, whatever vs tools are not present, they may get installed. If after installing this still your kit is not getting downloaded, please start from the starting, go for this second uh, setup. So reason being, different people using different operating system, different configurations, this can happen. So please do follow this to set up on the kit page. Let's go and look for some more
So in spite
errors.
of that, while you're looking for other questions, so despite that, if you have any issues that you're facing, or you have problems that you're not able to troubleshoot using those dependencies, do send us a message on our community, the same page that is there on the YouTube description. If you click on that page that is on the YouTube description, on that link, it will take us to the community page, which is community.openweaver.com. On this page, you will find there is a specific page that we have set up with today's session, which is virtual agent. And you can just type us a reply there saying, hey, I'd like more help with the kit or with anything else that you need. And this is a function that we will respond to. We can also have a one-on-one conversation with you if you are more interested in using the kit or further developing on top of it. Great. Go ahead. Thanks, Pooja.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Shmita, for pointing that out. Yes. So in case you are finding it difficult to, even troubleshoot things on your own, get to us directly on the community platform, just like how Shmita mentioned. And okay, I don't think a buffering is one of the issues, Kashav. It should work out. Is it the community platform you're talking about or the kit page?
Possibly the
We just
session
want
as
to.
well. So
Okay.
we'll just wait. If you have a more specific question, please do send it to us. We've got another 10 minutes to respond to questions. But if not, you can always reach us on our community channel at community.openweaver.com. So on the community, we've got a couple of questions that I wanted to check with you on, Pooja. The first one being, what are the different distance metrics other than cosine similarity?
Right. So we used cosine similarity. We directly imported it. We didn't mention a lot of detail mathematically, not required for a virtual agent. But if you ask the different distance metrics, we have Manhattan, we have Euclidean, you have Minkowski. So these are different varied metrics depending on what data set you're working on. You will choose a certain particular distance metrics, but we have a vivid of them.
Got it. Great. And then another question we have is, what industries can benefit from getting a chatbot? It's an interesting one.
Yeah, yeah. So this is. I hope you guys are already using a lot of food or food apps, or you're using the healthcare websites, right? Where you see that there's the bot just pops up. And let's not even talk about healthcare. Let's talk
Even
about
banking
banking.
and all of that.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. Shweta can answer those questions very flawlessly, because even all of us that any industry that you talk about, any industry that requires a lot of customer interaction, would get a huge support from getting a bot, getting to answer any of those frequently asked questions, or even the not expected ones. Once you understand that your customer is looking forward to, see, a bank already understands that most of the customers need the account statement, they need the information on credit card, they need the information on opening an account or whatever. So you, whenever you, I can, we can just open a HDFC bank or ICICI bank website and see all of them will have bots. Not only these essential services, but in fact simple basic websites where you send flowers or something like that will always have a bot
Yeah,
associated, so that they can quickly get you to, yeah, get a solution, and the customer is there on the platform there and then. Okay, we look
lovely.
for some more questions if you guys have. I got the Jupyter notebook opened via the kit. So yeah, looks good. So is it still on? So yes, said I just want to mention, even if you guys are coming late, that doesn't matter. You this session is recorded. I mean, this live session, you attend it live with us. You can ask the questions live with us. The good thing is when you're live, you go alongside with us. But you can always go back, see the session. It's always present on YouTube.
Yeah, you can
Rewind.
access the recording of the session. Yes.
Yes.
Um,
Okay.
and after you see the recording, if you have questions again, you can reach back to Pooja and we will be happy to respond. So thank you very much, Pooja. I think with that, we wrap up some of the questions we've had on YouTube comments and on the community. Really appreciate you walking us through that session and covering 3 key things today. I think we covered the basics of NLP, the fundamentals. We walked through a hands-on session where you built an NLP-based chatbot and supported all of our participants through that working chatbot by the end of the session. And as always, you showed us how we can use Kandi to access some of these open source assets to build our own application. Thank you, Pooja. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
And for all of our other participants today, please do take a look at some of these one-click kits that have been developed by young and senior developers on topics that are very relevant today, like this one. You see the applications of chatbots and virtual assistants across different industries. So do take a look at these kits, and not just kits, open source software can also help young developers in just checking out some very simple concepts as well. So thank you for that. And for all of our viewers today and our participants for the bootcamp, please know that you will receive certificates at the end of this session. In order to receive your certificate, please go to the link that is there in the YouTube description. When you click on that link, that will take you to the one-click kit page from where you downloaded the kit for this session. And on the very same page, you will find a button which says apply for certification. Go ahead, complete the form, and once you complete the form, you will receive your certificates. That's kind of how you do it. Click on the link. It will take you to the one-click solution kit. Right here on this page, you can come down and see an apply for certification button. So click on it, complete the form, answer those 2 or 3 simple questions, and once you answer them, you should receive your certificate in about a week. And while using the kit, if you have any questions, again, the same thing, click on the link that is there in the YouTube description. It will take you to community.openweaver.com, which is our community. I recommend that all of you please join the community, because that's the space where we connect with developers like you. We connect with students, developers, senior developers, etc. And that's a space where we would love to interact with you, collaborate with you, also understand what kind of topics you would like us to focus on in the future. But in general, it's a great space for you to share feedback and learn from each other. So on this community.openweaver.com, this is our community. You can click on the link, which has, depending on what you're looking for, we've got multiple different trainings. You've also got the topic for today there, the virtual assistant topic. So if you click on the virtual assistant, that will take you to the page which will have some details about the click. And right here below this page, you find a reply button. If you click on the reply button and ask us a question regarding this topic, you will receive a response. To be able to leave us a comment or chat with us, you will need to register yourself. So please be sure to sign up on community.openweaver.com. Once you sign up, you will be able to interact with us, and we will get back to you by message here. And if required, we will get in touch with you otherwise. So thank you so much. We look forward to having you in one of our future sessions as well. And do also follow us on our social media channels to stay updated on information and trends in the world of open source. And until we meet again, thank you very much. Good evening.